And my mic isn't working, so I got a handheld and we're gonna roll. This entire time I've been here, I have wanted to run across that stage. If anybody else is inspired and wants to run across the stage, come up and do it. It's awesome. I'll race you. All right, here's what I want you to do. I'm a very loud person. I am, so you're going to hear me way back in the back row, and I can see you, by the way, way back there. Hi. Go, baby, go!
Donna Smith.
Donna Smith. Woo! Give it up for Maria and Donna Smith. Here comes some more. Just do it behind me. Now listen up. I need for you, while they're running across the stage, I need for you to think of your favorite Mary Kay quote. I want you to think of it in your mind. And I want to tell you mine. Arm in arm they go. My favorite Mary Kay quote goes something like this. God said he would feed the birds, but he didn't say he threw the seed in the nest. And I love it because it reminds me of this. Our time together is coming close to an end. It's time for us to leave the nest, come tomorrow afternoon and go back to work. Right? And that's exciting. That's very exciting. But before we go, we have some work to do. And here's what I want to do. We need to start a movement. We need to start a riot in our hearts and in our minds. And that's what we're going to do for the next 40 minutes, is we're going to start a movement, and we're going to start a leadership movement. We're going to start a leadership movement because this organization right now is having a liminal moment. And let me tell you what I mean by liminal moment. It's the moment where you're neither who you were before, nor are you who you're going to be in the future. Did you follow me there? We just saw some amazing women retire. And it is time for the next amazing women to step up. It's the wall-to-wall leadership we've been talking about. And you know, I was introduced, there was the topic of work-life balance. And I'm going to share a little secret with you. There is no such thing as work-life balance. It is not a rational concept. We heard Cindy yesterday say, I'm a wife 24/7, I'm a mother 24/7, and I'm a Mary Kay consultant 24/7, so I guess it's balanced. End of conversation. I would rather have a conversation about life, work, inspiration. Life, work, inspiration, because I believe if we have a conversation about life, work, inspiration, we will get closer to stirring a leadership movement. Because life and work should inspire one another. Now let me tell you what I mean by conversation, because we do need to have one. I was in church many years ago. I have been since. But on this particular day, the preacher at my church called all the children to the front of the church in the middle of the service. I guess it was for some comic relief in the middle of the service. And he said, kids, what's brown and furry and has a big long bushy tail and gathers nuts, lives in trees? Right. And as an adult, I wanted to yell out the answer too. And the children just stood there, just silent. And he picked this one little boy. He said, Malcolm, do you know what the answer is? And Malcolm said, I know the answer's supposed to be Jesus, but it sure sounds like a squirrel to me. And when I heard that, I thought, yes, that's it. That's what a conversation is. It's where you say what you think the answer is, not what you think you're supposed to say. And I'll tell you this, I've been to corporate headquarters 3 times now. And all 3 times, I have been invited into Mary Kay's bathroom. All 3 times. And I don't know about you all, but my bathroom is the one room in my house where I can get a little privacy, if I'm lucky. And when I I get invited in there, it reminds me of this. This is an organization, and she was a person, and you are a collection of people who understand that being authentic and not having boundaries is everything. Being authentic and not having boundaries. So I want to have a bathroom conversation with you, where we're just our real, authentic selves. I want to talk about some things as they pertain to our work and our lives. And I want us to get fired up about this leadership challenge. Now let me ask you a question. I want you to think in your mind, how many directors are you going to offspring in the next 6 months? Just have a number in your head. Say that number to yourselves. If you're thinking to yourself, 0, up at 1, okay? And now I want you to say it to yourself. I'm going to offspring, and you put the number in the next 6 months. Just say it to yourself in your head. And now I want you to double the number. Because with passion, purpose, and a little bit of panic, we can get some stuff done. All right, now listen. If we're going to have a conversation, and we're going to have a conversation right in there about inspiration and work, I think what we really need to be talking about is energy. It is energy. We are in a national crisis for energy, a human energy crisis. I hear people tell me they're tired all the time. It's the mantra, how you doing? Well, I'm tired. All right, so I want to talk about energy and how you can get it, how you can access it, how you can create it, how you can use it, how you can pass it on, and how you can save it. Because I think if you understand energy, you will understand what people are talking about when they say work-life balance. They really don't mean that. They're not looking for a balance. They're looking to be inspired and have it all, and have energy in all the activities that we're asked to do. All right, so what I'm going to do is walk you through several ways. I want to give you the tools to understand how you can get more energy. Is that cool? Does anyone feel good about that? All right. By the way, these are just cards that say positive things. This one says, you're doing great. So. The first place I want you to go to create energy is in ideas. I'll tell you what, I love to read. I'm especially fascinated with the first sentences of books. And the first sentence of the Bible says, or the first 5 words, it says, in the beginning, God created. And it stops me cold, because there is so much energy in the creation process. There is so much energy there, just in the notion of an idea. Let me tell you, I have a friend who thinks that cell phones should have a ring that sounds like this. So when she's in a meeting, she can say, excuse me, I have to go get a little water. I have another friend who thinks that peanut butter should have a lid on the top and the bottom. So when you're halfway through, you turn it over, take off the top, and you don't get it all over your hand. Brilliance! I've got another friend who thinks they should board planes talking, no talking. Brilliant! Change our lives. Look, there's energy in ideas, and we got to start just generating them and sharing them. Ideas don't belong to individuals, and as it pertains to a leadership movement, people do not wash a rental car. They're not going to get excited about doing just your idea. They want to do theirs. They want ideas to start to meld so you don't even know whose idea it was. It just belongs to the team. There's so much energy in ideas. I was in Denmark many years ago, and I went to this organization called the Danish Technological Institute. And I called them up and said, hi, I'm Courtney Ferrell, and I'm passionate about creativity and innovation, and I wanted to know if there was anyone there I should talk to. And the person on the other end said, you've got to meet Henning, be here at 2. So at 2, I showed up. I'm waiting in the hallway of this very official building, and this man comes out of a back doorway and runs toward me. I think to introduce himself, but instead he says, "Are you the American who loves creativity?" "Yes." He said, "Follow me." So I start to follow Henning through all of these doorways and into all these bizarre rooms where he shows me all the things that he and his team have created. For what purpose, I still have no idea. I mean, chairs that were made out of toothpicks, tables that come out of the ceiling to save space, and in the middle of it all, he stopped and he said this: "If somebody on my team comes up with the solution, I kick him out of the room." "You what?" He said, "I kick him out of the room." I said, "Why would you do that? Why would you kick out of the room someone who just came up with the solution?" He said, "Because I don't want to build a team that's looking for one solution, for this secret answer. I want to build a team that can generate ideas and implement those ideas, and afterwards generate some more ideas and implement those ideas. Because people who are looking for one solution are going to get discouraged really fast. Because life and times change. Just the process of generating ideas, it's so important." I was once asked to sponsor a golf tournament where they were going to put my organization's name at hole number 10. And I said, "Well, I'd love to support your organization, I'd love to support the tournament, but I don't know that I want my name at hole number 10. I tell you what, I'll sponsor the drink cart." So I went to the hardware store and I got plywood and I cut the shape of cows out of the plywood and painted them to look like cows, and I strapped them to the side of the golf cart. Now, who do you think people remembered? The person who sponsored hole number 10 or the cows that brought them a beer? From a distance, it looked like cows were walking all over the golf course. Ideas, there's so much energy in ideas. And as we lead our units and our teams, we have to remember that energy and idea. Now, I talked to David a couple of months ago and he said, ideas are great, we need ideas, but we also need to do the ideas. We need to have the courage, the stick-to-itness, the discipline to bring those ideas to life. Okay, because doing does. There's energy in doing. There's a lot of energy in doing. I once did some work for Disney, the Imagineers, and they had this mantra, and their mantra was, ready, fire, aim. And I think you should steal that. Ready, fire, aim. Just do it. Don't sit there and perseverate over whether or not you should do it or how should you do it. Because one thing I know about women is we're all trying to be perfect. A completely unattainable state. An absolutely unattainable state. Let's let go of perfect and let's go for good enough. I started doing good enough parenting a little while ago, and I gotta tell you, it's genius. My daughter says, well, all the other mothers were there. I'll say, well, did you have breakfast this morning? Yes. Is there a roof over your head? Yes. Did I tell you I loved you? Yes. Good enough? Perfect is the enemy of good. Perfect is the enemy of great. Ideas, the energy that's there, doing them as best we can. Ready, fire, aim. Yes, we need to aim, but get it out there. Throw your parties. Say you're going to do 10. Right? The first 5, you're tweaking. You're learning as you go. Everyone with me?
Yes.
All right. By the way, I was many years ago doing work for Wachovia. They were merging with Bank One, and I had a big group of people, and I asked somebody, I said, how's it going? And this guy looked at me and said, I'm going to wait and see. I'm just waiting and seeing. And I went to my client and I said, this is going to fail. It's not going to work because y'all have a wait and see program. We cannot start a movement with wait and see. We got to start a movement with ideas and doing. All right? Energy. We got to know where we're going to get our energy. Listen, the next place you're going to find energy is simply in struggle. Okay? Now let's be honest, we're having a bathroom conversation. It is hard to be a woman. It is. We were given a compassionate heart. We were given a maternal instinct. We were given desires for all sorts of things. And we were given pantyhose that drop down below where our legs meet. And we have to act like we think we're all sexy while it's happening. By the way, that's happening to me right now. You know it's true. Now listen, I want to talk to you about struggle, because we waste a lot of energy trying to remove the struggle from our lives. Struggle is a part of your life. Struggle makes your life better. Struggle is a part of your work, and it makes your work better. I once heard a speech by Dana Reeves, Christopher Reeves' wife. Remember, she died of breast cancer a couple of years after he did. He didn't die of breast cancer, but you know the story. And she said this. She said, I might read this. She said, there's an inverse relationship between how much you struggle and the feeling of accomplishment, joy, and satisfaction you have when you actually attain a goal.
Yep.
Inverse relationship. If you say, boy, I don't want a Cadillac, and you all of a sudden get one, you go, that's fun, that was easy. But if you work for it and you struggle for it, I talked to a woman named Sarah. I said, how's it going, Sarah? And she's, oh gosh, she was so cute, energetic. She said, it's going great. I love my business. I said, have you offspring a director? And she said, well, yes, I have. And she quit. I would like to do something right now. Hang with me here, because I'm going to go down a little rabbit hole. I ran at the University of Virginia track and cross country. In my senior year, I was in the ACC tournament. We had to run 3.1 miles. It was a 5K. And I got to mile 2 and I was out of steam. And I was feeling sorry for myself and wondering why I did this painful sport to begin with. And I came around the corner and there was a freshman hiding behind a tree. And she popped her head out as I came in all my glory and just, I did not look pretty. I came around and she said this, I believe in you, Courtney! It changed everything, because I thought, Jamie Sutherland believes in me. Jamie Sutherland believes in me. I don't believe in me, but Jamie Sutherland believes in me, and I'm going to keep going. And so what I'd like to do right now is I want everyone to stand up. I don't know where you are, Sarah, because she looked at me, she said, it's been a real hard 5 months. And I want you to say, and you're just down from the deepest part of you, I don't know where you are, Sarah, but you know I'm talking to you. I met you in Starbucks this morning, and I want this whole room to say to Sarah, I believe in you, Sarah! I believe in you, Sarah! There you go. Come on, Sarah. Hey, Sarah. On Sunday night, I got my whole family packed up from 2 months of being away. We got to the airport. We had to take 2 cars to get there. I paid a bellman to help me take all the luggage. I had supper ready. I had it all planned out. We waited for 4 hours in the airport. It was past everyone's bedtime, and they canceled my flight. And I looked at my children and I said, this was a fire drill, and you all passed. We can go tomorrow. There is energy in struggle. I'm going to tell you a couple more things. Now listen. I heard a guy speak one time who was from Djibouti, which I love the name. I like to say that. Djibouti. Djibouti. I like to be from Djibouti, so I can say, oh, I'm from Djibouti. But I'm from Virginia, so I can't say that. This guy was from Djibouti, and he was talking about his life. Very different life than I have. My guess is very different life than yours. And he was talking about childhood. And he said, when I was little, when I was 5, we had to walk 3 miles in the morning to go get water and bring it back to our family. And then we had to walk 7 miles to school. Only, he didn't complain about it. He just said it like it was a matter of fact. And so I started to think about that. I started to think about all the things I have that make my life easier. A washing machine, a dryer, a dishwasher, a car to drive to school. And I have all these things that help me save time and remove struggle from my life. And then I started thinking, well, what am I doing with the extra time that I have? I've removed it. Am I just filling it with more stuff? Right? Because I kind of was. And then I started thinking, well, come on, I live 1.5 miles away from school. My children are going to walk. We're going to walk to school. I'm going to put the struggle back in my life because he said it sounded like fun. So we started to walk to school. I had a 5 and a 3-year-old at the time, and you can believe it was mutiny when I just told them they were walking 1.5 miles for the first time. But then it just became what we did. We walked to school, we talked. Guess what? By the time my children were to school, I had exercised. I had one-on-one great time with them where we had deep conversations. I had breathed God's green air, and I had put struggle back in my life in a weird way, and yet it made it better. All right, so I just ask you to really look. When we start talking about work-life balance, we all go to time. I just don't have the time. I have 3 children. I have a husband who's as much work as 3 children. You know, I've got the things, my volunteer work I'm doing. I've got all of these things. I've got my career. It's a lot. It's like, don't have any more time. I'm not asking you for any more time. I'm asking you to look at the struggle and choose yours. Choose yours. This is crazy. I'm not going to do it anyway. I love my husband. He is so cute. And I'm so lucky to have him. But good God, he's a lot of work. And I'm going to read you this. I'm going to do it from the balcony because I want to go up there. This looks cool. Okay, so we were going to have a dinner party. We agreed together to have a dinner party. I said, do you want to have a dinner party? He said, oh, that would be a lovely idea. So we were throwing the dinner party together in my mind. And then after the dinner party, I wrote this poem. And I think that you will connect with it. I know that you'll connect with it because my grandmother-in-law says men may be different, but husbands are all the same. So here it is. Mind's Eye by Courtney Ferrell. When we first spoke about the idea of a dinner party, I could see the 2 of us laughing side by side, wearing matching aprons, you crying from the sting of the chopped onions, me hands deep in meat marinade. Once cooked, I would pop a piece of lamb into your mouth and you would roll your eyes back and say something in Italian or French. Our guests would arrive as you put the final hydrangea into the centerpiece. I would hand them each a glass of sangria we'd prepared together the night before. You'd give hugs and a welcome clap of joy at their arrival, despite having met just twice before. And quickly begin the tour of the presentable parts of the house. We'd smile under the glow of the brass art lighting and talk about the latest piece we just couldn't keep ourselves from buying. After the right amount of welcome, goat cheese, figs, and prosciutto, we'd make an easy transition to the dinner table. Our meal would be a gastronomical aria, light but filling. We'd pretend we always ate this way, winking at each other at the triumphant joy of entertaining well. When we first spoke about the idea of a dinner party, I forgot temporarily that you don't hug as a matter of course, especially people you don't know. And you have never clapped your hands as an expression of joy. We don't own matching aprons, and we don't yet have brass lighting for the painting I did last year as a way to pass time in a new town before friends to invite to dinner. When we first spoke about the idea of a dinner party, I neglected to check the PGA website to see if the distraction of golf would pull you from the task of trash and leaves scattered in the back porch. And it occurs to me as I stand in the kitchen, simultaneously preparing the sangria in glasses I'd hand-washed, putting a final hydrangea in the centerpiece, mixing meat marinade while a tear runs down my cheek from the onions, that Tiger must be doing poorly in the opening rounds of play. And I realized that when we first spoke about the idea of a dinner party, you could see all of this with perfect clarity. Did you identify with that? Struggle. It's there. But we've gotten a lot of advice since we've been here about how to get help. And one of the things that we think we're supposed to do as women is do it all, because that's what we're told. Women can do it all. Women can do it all. And we translate that into women should do it all. Women should do it all. Well, we shouldn't. We shouldn't do it all. If you want to have a dinner party, you're probably going to be doing it on your own. Hire somebody. Or write a poem afterwards and it'll make you feel better. Okay. Listen, children are the same thing. Mommy, why aren't you coming to my soccer game? Because I have work to do. Mommy, all the other mothers are there, and I just look at my children and say, now listen to me. I don't go on any trips I didn't pack for. And I'm not going on your guilt trip. If you want to go to Paris, tell me. You want to go to Arkansas, I'll take you. You want to go to, I don't care, New York, let me know. I'll pack for it, I'll get prepared, but don't take me on a guilt trip, I'm not doing it. You decide which ones you want to go on. When we're talking about a leadership movement, we gotta be honest. Their struggle is a part of it, and we want it there because it makes us better, it makes us stronger. Okay? Stop spending your energy trying to get the struggle out of your life. Just come up with ideas and try them. Come up with ideas and try them. And the ones that work, stick. Alright, another place you can get energy is in humor. It's an unbelievable place. I like to live my life by one rule and one rule only, and I want you to steal it. And it's rule number 17. Don't take life too seriously. If you want to know where rule number 1, 2, and 3 is, they don't exist. It's just rule number 17, don't take life too seriously. And I made it up at Hollywood Cemetery. And I was walking through this beautiful cemetery in Richmond, Virginia. Unbelievable people are buried there. I mean, real leaders, incredible people. And I walked past this one tombstone and it said, Margarita Daniels. She always said her feet were killing her, but nobody would listen. And I don't care who you are, that's funny. Humor is so important. It is so necessary. Now, I moved to Dallas, Texas 4 years ago. And my hair looks fabulous right now because of the nice lady in the back who did it for me. But normally it doesn't look like this, so I was terrified because I was moving to Dallas and I don't have big boobs and I didn't have big hair. And I didn't know if I was going to fit in. Well, I got invited to a birthday lunch by a really neat woman named Michelle Lockhart, and she called me and she said, Courtney, you're new to town, I want you to come to my birthday party. It's going to be at this neat, but we're all getting dressed up. We're all getting dressed up. And I said, oh, I'd love to come. It's so nice of you. Thank you so much. And of course, the day of the luncheon came, and sure enough, I was in the backyard and I was planting bulbs and I was on the phone trying to get some work done, and I had a new baby at the time, and I lost track of time, and lunch was at 12, and at 11:45, oops, I looked up and it was a mess. I mean, there was no fixing the way that I looked. There was nothing anybody in this room could do at all with the time that I had and the way that I had dirt underneath my fingernails. I mean, I couldn't even put lipstick on the pig. But I'm new to town, I gotta go. I can't not go. Plus, I told him I was gonna go. And so I just said, oh, okay, have a sense of humor. I'm not a high-powered lawyer. Let's not get stressed out about this. I went to the garage and I found a gorilla suit and I put it on and I grabbed a big thing of bananas. And I just went, I just went. The sleeves of the suit were long enough to cover the dirt in my fingernails, and the mask could cover all this, the whole thing. Anyway, so I showed up at this country club, and I walked in and found the table, and I sat down, and they all stared at me in horror, and I stared back at them in horror. And finally, I just took off my mask and said, oh, dressed up means a whole other thing in Virginia. Humor. Okay, my friend, this wonderful artist friend, Erica Yeagley, and we were talking on Sunday in the park, and she said, I just look at myself, here I am, an artist. I mean, my work is about love and passion and connection with people. Sound familiar, by the way? And she said, here, I run around stressed out. I'm just going to start saying this to myself. I am not a high-powered lawyer. I did not choose that. I have joy in what I do. I am making the world better. I understand my place in the world, and we are all the same. I am that way, and you are that way. We are on a mission. We are on a mission to make women's lives better. And we get to start with ourselves, and then we get to pass it on. All right, so there's energy in ideas. There's energy in doing. There's energy in struggle. And there's energy in humor. Don't take it so seriously. Everyone should have an emergency clown nose. I mean, come on. The next place where there's energy, and this won't be any big surprise to you, is passion. And I wanted to tell you a story about passion, which I've always loved. 15 years ago, I helped start a company, and the company's name was Play. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was just this wonderful little time in life. And in the front door walks this young man with long hair. He looks kind of like a hippie, and he said, I want to work here. And we said, well, what's your name? He said, my name's John Morgan. And we said, John, what background do you have? Are you from a creative background? He said, well, I went to Virginia Military Institute. I think their idea of creativity is pea green paint. And we said, John, why would we hire you? And he said, because I think creativity and innovation can change the world, and I want to be part of what you're doing. And because you can't put a price tag on eager, we hired John Morgan to answer the phones. And on the first day I walked in, he was already at work, and he was standing like this over the phone. And when it rang, he did this. Good morning, Play, how can I help you? Every single time the phone rang, people started to call just to hear John answer the phone. Good morning, Play, how can I help you? Oh, John, I'm just calling to get a little energy. Then he decided to pick people's on-hold music. He was a musician, a drummer. And he said, yeah, it's just kind of lame. It sounds like we're a phone company trying to calm people down before we talk to them. Why don't we get them jacked up? So people started to ask to be put back on hold so they could finish their song. And then John came in with his entire Pearl drum set, the entire thing. And he put it in the corner, and I said, John, what are you doing? He said, you just wait. And every time we had a meeting, he'd go over to the drums and only it sounded like drums. And he'd say, our meeting's starting. Just wanted to add a little energy. And then he decided he was going to pick his own title, because he said our titles were lame. And he said, my title should be Rumpa-Pum-Pum, because I'm keeping the beat of this place. Passion. Martin Luther King did not say, I have a strategic plan. He said, I have a dream. And what I want you to do, because we are, after all, starting a leadership movement, I want you to say, in your mind and in your heart, I have a dream. See, it's the people in this room right now who are going to create the next leadership of Mary Kay. And I don't mean the next leadership for next year. I'm talking about, this is a liminal moment. You all are going to be the next Mary Kay. You already are, but in a very bigger way. This is a big deal. This year, this time, 2014, it starts now. You will remember this moment. It's you. It's the people that you're going to meet when you go home and crawl out of this nest and start to fly and go down and meet and say, you're a leader. I see it in you. But we have to have it here and here to make it happen. We can't have a wait and see. Well, I'll just wait and see if I find someone, who has that energy in them, and then I'll put my energy into them and make them a director. Don't just wait and see. Go look for them. Woo! Yeah, listen. Passion is so interesting. You can tap into people's passion. The Ritz-Carlton does it because they say that there are 3 levels of service. And the first level of service is to do what is expected. The second level of service is to do what is requested. And the third level of service is to surprise and delight. That's where passion is. Passion is not doing what's expected. And passion does not sit in doing what is requested. That's a C in school. That can get boring, quite frankly. It's surprising and delighting. It's surprising and delighting yourself. I went to the dentist a bunch of years ago. Again, I have been sensitive to that too. And my dentist, they write down little notes when they talk to me, despite having all those instruments in my mouth. I'm talking. And they write down my answers to the hygienists who clean my teeth, so that the next time I come in, it looks like they know me better than they really do. And so she said, okay, so are you still living on Echo Brook? Because I don't really want to talk. I said, oh, and are you still with that cute boy, Courtney Ferrell? And she said, oh, well, do you still have that nice dog also? She said, well, it looks like you reached the status quo. And it stopped me dead, and I thought, from now on, I'm lying when I come here. Stories, passion, we gotta talk about our passion. We gotta stay inspired. We have to actively go out and stay inspired. I take radical sabbaticals all the time. And again, I don't have time to take radical sabbaticals where I go out and have an experience that I think is gonna fill me up. I go out and have an experience that just might fill me up. I buy a plane ticket and go to New York and walk the streets and talk to people because I know there's some genius out there. I'll get in the car and say to my cab driver, tell me something new. One time a guy turned around to me and said, how come you never see a baby pigeon? It's true. Listen, a passionate person stays inspired. You just get inspired. Whatever time you put into being inspired, whatever time you take out of the precious little you have will pay back multiples. There's so much energy in being inspired and in inspiring others, yes. But I heard yesterday someone say, how much energy should I put into my unit, and then how much energy should I be spending on my own business? And I use this. I always tell myself, there's two things I gotta do. I gotta create, and I gotta lead. And when I'm leading, and I start feeling a little bit frustrated over the leading, then I go create. I create stories, I create business, I create leads, I create sales, and then I go back and I lead. I tell the stories about what I just did. Create and lead. Create and lead. That's what speaks to me there. Okay, listen, we talked about ideas. We've talked about struggle. We've talked about humor. We've talked about passion. I want to talk about the unknown now. I want to talk about the unknown because here's a fact. And I write it down on a card. Here's the card. Camera, check it out. I carry this with me everywhere I go, this card. And it says the following thing. Forgive me if it offends anyone. Jean shorts used to be cool. And if you're thinking, aren't they still? No. They're not. And I carried it around with me. I wrote this in Newark Airport because a lot of people there were wearing jean shorts. I wrote it down. And it reminds me that you gotta change. Not in like a scary, change, but in an exciting way to change. And I don't care for Tiger Woods just personally because of his lifestyle choices. But I do have a really interesting story about young Tiger Woods before he made all those bad choices. So if you will just give me that moment to tell you about this. He won as a young person, 18 years old, I think, 19, the Masters. And this is unheard of. He's the youngest person to do this. And when they gave him his green jacket for winning, he asked them to give it to him 4 sizes bigger than he actually was. Because he knew he was going to win it again. And he wanted to fit into it. I like that confidence. But then the next year, he reinvented his swing. Everyone said, why are you reinventing your swing? Because he was terrible at the beginning of the season. If you're wondering how I know this, my husband is addicted to this sport. And some of it sinks in. And he reinvents his swing. They said, why are you doing this? You just have the best swing in the world. What are you doing? Why would you reinvent something that good? And he said, oh, because that was the swing that won last year. I have to find the swing that's going to win this year. Right? Right? And look, this is what happens. We work really, really hard. We get our red jacket. And we work really well. We get our brown and gold jacket. I don't know. Our glittery, woo, jacket. And then we're on to the black jacket. But we keep doing what we were doing before. We can't just keep doing what we were doing before. You gotta reinvent. Excitedly, joyfully. You say, I did it, I got to this place. Now how am I gonna get to the next place? It's not by doing what I did before. It's by doing something a little bit different. Okay? And I'm gonna tell what's her name? Oh, it's gonna come to me. Give me a second. I saw you today. Your name is not Cece, but Candace, no. Cecily. It's Cecily James? Is that right? Cecilia James. Yes, I was so close. Cecilia James, girl, you sparkle. She was walking down the hallway just... And I was really far away, and I gotta tell you, there's a part of me that's like, I gotta start selling Mary Kay product. I want that zoom. I want that sparkle. Whatever she's doing, I want to be her. That was awesome, by the way. Awesome. We got to be okay with reinventing. We got to be okay with change. I know yesterday there was some conversation about the product line and what's going to come and what's going to go. Look, you're going to be a part of this organization for a long time and products are going to come and go. It's okay. It's our job to lead, right? It's our job to lead to whatever those changes are. We can do that. There's energy in doing that, by the way. My parents went on a safari in Africa. My mother spent weeks making her list of all the animals that she wanted to see. Weeks. I mean, it's like Santa Claus's list. It went on and on. And she got there and she said, okay, excuse me, to the guy. Yes, I got my list. I just wanted to go over my list with you. And he said, some of you came with lists. Everyone put up the list. He said, you need to put your list away. This is not a vacation. This is an adventure. We have no idea what we're going to see. We just have to be present and excited about what it is we do see. So yes, Mary Kay said it. We've got a plan, right? Didn't she say people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan? We have to plan. But once you've planned, you need to put your to-do list away and be present in the moment. You got to sense the winds of change and jump on. All right? Love this. Another place where there's energy is in inspired conversations. Inspired conversations. And I'm from the South. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. And, really? You're here? Hi, Richmond. Then you'll understand this. I grew up on the mean streets of Grove Avenue. And in Richmond, not much goes on. You get invited to cocktail parties where nothing happens. The hostess usually says, how is your mother? And everyone asks you the same question. It's painful. Your only option is to drink. And so what I like to do is I like to ask people, hey, what's your story? And they say, well, what do you mean? And I say, well, what's your story? Like, let's skip the how is your mother and all that kind of stuff, and let's get down to what it is we both really want to talk about. Because I'm here and you're here, we might as well like get close and connected. I'm gonna have an inspired conversation. I don't want to talk about people or what somebody was wearing or how they messed up and all that kind of stuff we do and all the complaints I have in my life, because we can do that. We can waste time comparing complaints in our lives. We all have them. But the energy rests in the inspired conversation. Let's do that right now. I want you to have an imaginary drink or two. To where the person sitting next to you is slightly more interesting than they actually are. And I would like for you to turn to the person on either side. It can be a three-way, four-way, whatever works for you all, okay? And try and make it someone you don't know. I know you're sitting next to your friend. Turn to someone you don't know, and I want you to say, hey, what's your story? Remember, you're a little tipsy. Go. What's your story?
And pay leadership.
start. That right there was the start of an inspired conversation, and I'd like for you to have more of those. Steal that language. What's your story? Tonight, at your Mardi Gras party, what's your story? Find out what people's stories are. Have inspired conversation. Look for pockets of energy. Don't say to yourself, well, you know, I met this amazing woman. I know you're out there. I really was impacted by our conversation. She has 7 children. She's a director. She has 7 children. And I was asking her about offspringing some more directors. And she said, we've really made a commitment to our kids, and I have too. I want to remind you, this is not about time. Work-life balance is not about time. It's not a rational concept. So I guess if you have a really small life, you can say, this many hours here, this many hours here, and it all equals out, but no one in this room has a small life. It doesn't work like that. We're Mary Kay. We don't have a small life. We have a very big life. And I'm gonna end with a couple of quick stories. In 2000, I did an endurance event called the Ironman. Woo! Thank you. And I was standing on the line, the starting line, and if you want to know intimidating, stand on the line at the Ironman. The bodies that are there next to you is something completely unattainable. And it's hard as you're sitting there and thinking, my God, I don't know if I want to date you or like beat you or I have a lot of emotion right now. And the gun goes off. And see, that's when this notion came to me. I think Mary Kay said something similar to this, which makes me feel like we're kindred spirits. But at the time, I hadn't been exposed to Mary Kay. I didn't know it, but in the middle of that event, which has extreme highs and lows, it's 2.7 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and a 26.2 mile run. You have to be a little crazy to do it. So, anyway, in the middle of it, I thought, my God, this is ordinary people doing something extraordinary. That's all this is. They're no pros. They're just, and then that's when you see all the other bodies, because you're being passed by a man who's 350 pounds and shorter than you, and there's nothing you can do about that fact. He's going on, and you're where you are. It's your experience. You're just an ordinary person, and you're going to do something extraordinary, which is not quit. And you're going to have highs, but you're not going to let that go to your head. And you're going to have lows, but you're not going to let that stop you. And it really doesn't matter what everyone looks like anymore, because it's just humanity. You know, everything's been stripped away. You're your bathroom self. It's just you. And I want to tell you this. I've been doing this amazing job that I have for almost 20 years. I love what I do for a living. I love my life's work. And I feel very attached to you all, because you're doing something that most companies can't attain. They want to have purpose that's bigger than themselves. They want that, but they don't know how to get it. Because they've forgotten things that Mary Kay taught you all, which is give. Don't worry about how much you can get from someone. Just give and it will come back. I'm going to give an opportunity. This summer, I told my little 7-year-old, I said, listen to me, you're 7, it's time you have a job. And you could go work for somebody else, which is no fun, or you can start your own business. And so what are you going to do? And she said, well, maybe I'll have a lemonade stand. And of course, in my mind, I thought, how uncreative. So I said, well, you don't have any money to start a lemonade stand. What are you going to do? What are you going to do now? And she said, okay. I said, well, go on up in your room and figure it out, because you need to get to work. And she came down with a box, cardboard box, and on the front of it she had written, idea stand, 50 cents. And she said, well, this ain't gonna cost me any money, Mama. And I got lots of ideas. I said, all right. And so we took that out, and she found a place where there was a lot of, it's in Cromwell, North Carolina, if anyone's ever been there. We went to the lighthouse, and she put her little stand out. And before we went, I said, now listen, what are you selling? And she said, read the sign, Mama, I'm selling ideas. I said, no, you're not. You're selling cute. So if I were you, I'd take your little sister and I'd think really carefully about what clothes you all wear. And so her little sister wore a 2-year-old bubble that showed your back. It was precious. It actually still fit her. And then she wore a little dress. And she went out there and she learned that, right? She learned that she was selling more than just ideas. Yes, she was selling ideas. Yes, that's why people came back. But really, she was selling humanity. She was selling beauty. Cute beauty. At such a young age, she's gotten to learn what you all are also doing. Okay, you are bringing beauty into this world. You are bringing beauty into people's lives. Amen. On so many levels. It is rarefied air that you are breathing. I'm here to tell you. It just is. So I want to end with this. I'm going to say it to you, and then I want you all to say it to one another. I believe in you, Mary Kay.
I believe in you, Mary Kay.
And now, as I walk up the stage, I would like for you to turn to the person next to you once I'm gone, and I want you to say to them, I'm going to start that leadership movement. This is how many directors I think that I can offspring in the next 6 months, and it might sound crazy. And to be honest, I got no idea how I'm going to do it. But I know that I can. And then another person is going to look at you and say loud, and I'll be able to hear you because I'm right backstage, I believe in you, whatever your name is. All right? Does everyone understand that exchange? You got to be able to say it out loud. That's the first step. You got to have the guts to be able to say it out loud. All right? Thank you so much. What a pleasure it was for me. I believe in all of you.